What's going on? It's your dog Artman Boxing. We're back with another boxing conversation, man. I know it's been a little minute since the last time you guys heard me. I had to catch a body that last time, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Man, that dude. It took him a little minute to respond. Hold on, let me get this camera on. It took him a little minute to respond, but he came back just to let me know he was still alive after that body got caught, man. But shout out to everybody in the chat already. Shout out to my dude Retros for Life. 79B Boxing. Salute to you, Art. Man, shout out to you, man. Shit just getting funny out here. It's just like a real life movie, dude. Listening to Bob Arum today after what he just said last week about Terrence Crawford and Herring is hilarious, man. I'm gonna spark this J and I'm gonna let y'all listen to the old man. He's speaking on Tyson Fury. 1 second.
Or the Mid East. Guys, can you give us any update on? It's just hogwash. It always was, says, with a grain of salt. Just the way I remember with Ali. Everything boxing-wise that he said.
Hold on, man. I didn't even catch that part. This motherfucker compared Tyson Fury to Ali. What the fuck? Hell no.
Grain of salt. Just the way I remember with Ali. Everything boxing-wise that he said, you had to take with a grain of salt. So then we can expect to see him fight for a few more years then. This retirement stuff is just hogwash. It always was. Yeah, figured. In terms of Tyson's status of fighting in the U.S., can you give us any update on that? Well, right now it doesn't look like a U.S. fight would be as valuable as fighting someplace else, whether UK or the Mid East. But I'm sure that before he hangs up the gloves, Tyson Fury will be back fighting in the U.S.
But why?
I know there was a report online. I don't know how accurate it was that he's not allowed into the country for like a certain amount of time.
Well,
I don't know about that, but this Kinahan thing. Kinahan's under sanction.
Hey, hold on, y'all. I gotta. He asked him about the Tyson Fury being banned, and then he says, "I don't know anything about that." And then he goes into saying the Daniel Kinahan, like this man, like he almost got him, but then his old age gets to him. But hold on,
he's not allowed into the country for like a certain amount of time. Well, I don't know about that, but this Kinahan thing. Kinahan's under sanction, and so people who were allegedly close and are under that prohibition. But Fury wasn't ever particularly that close to Kinahan.
He says Fury wasn't that close to Daniel Kinahan. Really, the man that Bob Arum paid millions of dollars to consult Fury fights wouldn't really, you know what I'm saying, really wasn't friends with Fury like that. They weren't even close like that. I mean, but Bud and Herring, the fuck out of here, man. Shout out to my dude D-Hop, man. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? Man, I don't understand at this point why Bob even has Fury name in his mouth. Is he still trying to do some business with Fury? Still?
It's to me, it sounds like he doesn't want to, or he made some type of deal. Who knows? This is just speculation, but I feel like he probably cut a deal with the law enforcement, where if he snitches on whoever that was involved, he gets to keep Tyson Fury around. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't. Even if a deal like that was made, who is he going to give up that wasn't already obvious? Because the British.
He throwing Herring under the bus. And he throwing Bud under the bus.
Well, they're not. I mean, Herring, yeah, that's a liability, but they're not going to fuck with Bud right now. I don't think. At least I hope not.
If Bud was the key to get Daniel Kinahan, they'll go after him. But I don't think they're going after him.
Yeah, Bud ain't no damn key. Bud don't know what the fuck he doing handling with American business, let alone what they got going on over there. So Bud don't know shit.
What do you think about Bob Arum saying he knows nothing about none of this, but then name drops Daniel Kinahan and Tyson Fury?
I mean, I think he's doing what he's supposed to for the sake of Top Rank and for the sake of Top Rank's association with ESPN. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to it's supposed to be plausible deniability. Now, of course, he looks like a moron because we know about the consulting fees thing, but I think that publicly, that's just some shit he's supposed to say. Now, like you said about his deal with the FBI, I don't know to what degree he's had contact with law enforcement, but to be quite honest, he really shouldn't even be talking about Tyson Fury fighting in the United States again. What the fuck that got to do with you? What you worried about it for? He fought fucking Dillian White in the UK in the zone, and that did triple plastic, and you supposedly washed your hands of the shit. So that's
Hey,
what I'm trying
Art
to
Man.
figure out.
Art Man, what's good, bro?
What's going on, man?
What's up, D-High Boxing?
What's up, man?
Hey, Art Man, I've been trying to catch you on a live for a minute, bro. Because you've been posting shit on Facebook. So I just want to ask you, man, directly. Because I remember, like, 4 or 5 months before the third fight between Fury and Wilder, you looked at me when I asked you, yo, what are you going to do if Deontay Wilder loses this fight? You told me it can never happen. It's not possible. Fury cannot cheat this time. It is not possible. So the fight happens, Wilder loses, and now you got excuses again, bro. So I just want to ask you, man, just explain it to me. Hey, listen, I'm here. I'm open-minded. I'm aware, that Fury is a piece of shit. I'm aware that Bob Arum is the biggest liar in the world. But I just want to hear from you, bro. How did Tyson Fury cheat the third fight when you told me that it was not possible for him to cheat? Let me know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I was motivated in that fight because I am a fan of Deontay Wilder. Of course, I don't want to think about losing the fight. That's why I made that statement. But I was wrong in thinking that Tyson Fury couldn't cheat again. I was wrong. I was foolish. How silly of me to think that this motherfucker wouldn't cheat again. And you're the one who actually brought it up, who said, what makes you think that he won't cheat again?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. But I'm asking you because I'm trying to figure out a way.
I'm not finished.
Right.
I'm not finished.
Do you think?
My thing is, I know Tyson Fury cheated because first they switched the ref out at the last minute. When it came to the glove situation, Tyson Fury had the same custom-made Paffin Sport gloves that you yourself understood because you explained on my show that is altered.
Mm-hmm.
It can be custom-made to have little to no padding in it or use padding or whatever.
Yeah, correct.
I've never, ever seen a commission member yelling at a boxer's team, telling them no matter what you say, all these gloves are approved.
Mm-hmm. So let me tell you.
Wait.
All right, go ahead.
We go into the fight. Good, excited first couple rounds. Wilder got dropped. I thought it was over right then. He get back up. He hits Fury with one of the craziest right hands I've seen him throw.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking knock Tyson Fury down, put him on the floor. Mm-hmm. And guess what happens? He gets an additional long count. Regardless if you like to say, oh man, there's no possible way, or this happens all the time where guys get long counts. Man, I don't believe in coincidence when it comes to knowing that the mob was financially involved in this fight. And Tyson Fury was their investment.
Let me know when I can talk.
Go ahead.
Okay. So just to kind of like bring up the points that you brought up. So first and foremost, let's talk about the gloves. Are you talking about the same Paffin Sport gloves that were literally opened right in front of Deontay Wilder himself and shown what was in the padding? Are those the gloves that you're talking about?
Deontay Wilder wasn't there.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was somebody from his team. I forget. You know who it was.
Yeah,
I forgot who
it was. Tay Jones.
Tay Jones. There you go. So somebody from Deontay Wilder's team looked inside. The commissioner literally opened the gloves and said, if you guys are so worried, we're going to show you what's inside these gloves.
Yeah.
Ripped open the gloves, showed him that the padding was good to go. And yes, I do remember telling you about the the padding, and that Indian dude was telling me. I remember all that. But what I'm trying to tell you is they literally opened the gloves right in front of him, in front of his team. I'm sorry, in front of his team.
Yeah,
his team was cool with it. His team was like, all
they're
right, cool.
cool with it.
I
They
mean,
weren't. They
did
wasn't
they
cool with it
complain?
because I specifically remember our brother Tay Jones having basically a shouting match with the commission, telling them like, "Hey, man, these gloves are funny style. It's funny style." And that's when I told you that the commission member yelled back at him and said, "No matter what, he can still use these others. He can use these gloves." And here's the thing that makes it even more interesting. He cut open one glove, right, and showed the cameras, "Yeah, this is it. This is it." But there's several other gloves that look exactly like that. He's not cutting all of them open. Obviously, he's not going to wear the one that he cut open.
Of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, I honestly believe this guy, it's not even like, man, it's not even a question about it. The guy, Daniel Kinahan, was financially involved in Wilder Fury 3. This man, Bob Arum, is on record saying that this guy used bully tactics in the world of boxing, and we have to denounce this guy. You don't think that this guy, Daniel Kinahan, has the power and the leverage to convince a fucking commission member to let Tyson Fury slide?
Of course he does.
Custom-made gloves?
Of course.
So, yeah, man, I'm sorry. I'm not in the business of giving criminals who are now being denounced by our government and boxing officials the benefit of the doubt, especially with a known cheater like Tyson Fury.
So to your point, listen, and I've been on your show a million times, and I pointed out the fact that Tyson Fury is a piece of shit. He's a cheater. But my thing is this: like, when you keep bringing up, and you know what? I'll even give you this. I 100% agree with you that when Tyson Fury got dropped the second time, the first time he beat the count, but the second time, that was a really fucking long count. Like, and I know you noticed, the referee literally stopped counting at like 7. turned over to Wilder, set son to him, and then as Tyson Fury got up, you could have probably counted to like 12, realistically. So my thing is this. And I know you brought up the fact that there was like a bunch of different boxing gloves. So, and that always happens. That there's always going to be multiple pairs of gloves because the fighters, they pick and choose which gloves fit better, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But they were open in front. I mean, like, bro, you cannot do much more than that.
So
you cannot. Hold on. You talk. Hold on.
One second. What can you do when a commission member is telling you, no matter what your black ass say, this guy, Tyson Fury, is going to fight with these faulty gloves? So what are you talking about? Regardless if he opened it up in front of him, what is he going to do? He literally told him he can't do shit about it.
Because the gloves were legal. That's why.
Oh, because no, because they were approved. They're approved.
The gloves were legal.
They're approved. They're approved, right?
They were approved, yes.
Now, and you just sat here and told me that these guys are a piece of shit. And you understand that this guy, Daniel Kinahan, is being denounced from boxing for all his bully tactics and him being sanctioned by the government.
Right.
So you don't think that maybe the guy that's approving Tyson Fury's faulty glove can be in this guy's payroll?
Can he be? Is it a possibility? Of course.
Is it a possibility? Yes. Of course.
Yes, of course it's a possibility.
So
but let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Say, man, hey, man, there's no way he can cheat or assume that. It's bizarre.
So let me ask you this. So you always want, like, we always talk about, is it possible? Is it possible? All right. In your mind, is there just is this just a possibility that's just Tyson Fury's just a better fighter?
No, because the better fighter wouldn't need to use drugs. The better fighter wouldn't need the mob in his corner. The better fighter wouldn't switch gloves. Gloves he's never worn before.
I'm sorry,
bro.
Hold on. Is that the point though? Is the point that you want us to, or Art Man, to say that Tyson Fury is the better fighter or some shit?
No. Listen. He wants. Hold on. Let me just finish, please. So he talks about switching gloves, bro. Deontay Wilder switched gloves minutes before the second fight. How come you don't say anything about that? Like
From
10
what
minutes
to
before the second, from about 10 minutes before the second fight,
which gloves though?
Deontay Wilder switched the glove. I don't remember, but the
What
video's
to
out
what?
there. What do you mean? What to what?
From what type of glove to what type of glove? Was there an actual
I-
difference, or was it just a different pair?
I don't remember like the specifics on it. All I know is that 10 minutes. Let's just say this: if that was Tyson Fury, Art Man would have been all over that.
Okay, well,
So-
look, we can. All I'm saying is that we can go back and forth about this, but the people that are convinced that Tyson Fury is just simply the better fighter with no special additives, there's no convincing them. Just like this this debate, we can do this until we're all blue in the fucking face. If this is what we're going to talk about, that's perfectly fine, and I'm down with it. But I don't want to the show was supposed to be about Tyson Fury's retirement, the potential scandal, and all that good stuff.
Right. And this all has a play in it.
Oh, okay. I'm just because I'm like,
So,
we can do this like round robin.
A question is always being asked. A question that's always being asked is, how did he cheat?
Mhm.
I want to ask you, how didn't he cheat?
Well, that's pretty simple. You saw the beatdown. So let me ask you this. So
No.
Artman,
It's not simple. It's not that simple, because how do you
Well, if you let me talk.
how do you prove to me that those gloves are not faulty?
Okay, so number one, me myself, I can't because I don't have the gloves that he used.
How can
But
you prove
let's
to me
bring up
that
facts. Let's bring up
the
facts.
injury on Wilder's face is not real?
Let's bring up facts. We're talking about the third fight here. What happened in the second fight? If you want
I
to say he
brought up
cheated in
a
the
fact,
second fight,
that
hold on.
injury on Wilder's face is real.
Okay, so if you want to talk about the second fight, that's one thing. I'm here strictly talking about the third fight because you were on a high horse, convinced that there was no way he could possibly cheat.
You can't just
All right, man,
talk
hold on, bro.
about
Let me talk.
It's a
Let me talk,
trilogy,
bro.
right?
Please,
It's a
let me talk.
trilogy, right?
Yes,
Hold on,
you gotta
man.
let me talk, bro.
Go ahead.
All right, so listen. So you don't think the fact that Deontay Wilder just came in extremely muscular and possibly gassed himself out in the first round, throwing all these jabs to the body and body punches. And by the way, he was throwing them with all his might. You don't think the added weight, the added muscle and he looked fatigued after like the second or third round. Obviously, you're not going to tell me that
Yeah, it
who's
played
his trainer?
it played a part in the fight.
Okay then.
Most definitely. Hold on. It played a part in the fight, but Daniel Kinahan involvement played a major role in that fight because Wilder put on that muscle. He knocked Fury down with that muscle.
He did.
But somehow,
he knocked him down the first fight without the muscle.
Somehow, Tyson Fury gets another long count. You don't think that's strange that this guy
keeps on
getting long counts in a fight where mob boss is financially involved in the fight?
Let me ask you this. And to answer your question, I think it's a little funny, but hold on. Let me just ask you this.
Go ahead.
The first fight, the last knockdown that happened in the 12th round. You really think that was a long count? Like in all honesty, you really
in the first
think
fight
that was a long count? Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And I also believe that fight should have been waived off.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
Most
100%.
Definitely. But knowing
I 100% agree with you on that.
But knowing that the mob is involved in the fight, it rules out that speculation. I know, yes, these motherfuckers had some dirty tactics going on in that fight. Even Bob Arum said it. He used bully tactics in the world of boxing.
Yeah.
What do you think that means?
So bully tactics is, I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's my way or I'm gonna fuck you up type of stuff. Like how the mob regularly does. They force people into paying them rent. We're gonna give you protection, pay us, or we're gonna fuck you up type of stuff. That's the same tactics that I'm sure he uses as well.
Well, I will say this. What's going on, guys? How y'all feeling, man?
What's going on,
up,
brother Julius?
Hey, ain't too much, but look, the one difference that Kinahan and the mob, when the mob was really controlling boxing, is a lot of times the mob, went with their guy to lose. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, not just a few, a lot of times, they're paying for guys to take dives and things like that. And I think it's a little harder to pay a guy to take a dive. It's easier to get judges and referees involved in that situation because they're not governed under
Well, they are governed, they're watched, but normally the FBI and DEA and things like that to get involved in these type of situations normally go with the money betting line. That's normally when people are caught up in the cheating scandals. You get what I'm saying? That's why I don't believe that Mark Breland, you know what I'm saying, had anything to do with the situation. But I wouldn't be surprised if we hear about referees and or commission people and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a little more difficult to do certain things, but it ain't impossible.
Mm-hmm. And you're 100% right. And you're 100% right. But what I want Artman to understand is, yes, could there have been some foul play? Of course, absolutely. This is boxing. This is a dirty game. It happens. It happens in every sport. There's always foul play involved. But what I want Artman to do is to also be open minded to the fact that maybe Deontay Wilder was just gassed out. Maybe it wasn't the gloves. Maybe it was just Deontay Wilder was just super gassed out after the second or third round. It was pretty apparent that Wilder was just gassed out.
It's basically, it's like you're telling me to throw away solid evidence and proof and
There is
statements.
no solid evidence
It
in the
is
third
solid
fight, though.
So wait.
There is no
It's
solid
not
evidence
solid.
about the gloves.
It's not solid evidence that the
Not
mob was
about the gloves.
financially involved on Fury's
I'm
behalf.
talking about the gloves. I'm talking about the gloves.
Wait,
here.
what are you talking about? You're
I'm
confusing
talking
me
about the
here.
gloves.
You're
How am I
confusing
confusing
me here because you're talking about Wilder losing the fight, and
Mm-hmm.
can I think of a way that it's Fury just won and that's just that? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I can't throw away the fact that a mob boss is financially connected in this fight.
Okay.
And
All right. Okay.
Tyson
Okay.
Fury is his investment, and Tyson Fury is a known cheater. So it's like it's like telling me to play stupid. Basically.
Art man, listen, your argument would be a lot stronger if this fight would have been if
Your
Tyson Fury would have won
argument
by
would be a
decision.
lot stronger if this guy wasn't banned from the United States right now.
Okay, listen, just hear me out.
What the fuck?
If this was a decision won by Tyson Fury, then by all means, your argument, about him, a mob being involved in this shit, that would make a lot more sense. But bro, this shit was won by knockout. Deontay Wilder was done.
What would a decision
not banned from the United States, bro?
But what would a decision have done if Deontay Wilder had taken the same damage? What would be different? Because he got knocked out in the 11th. So let's say he saw the 12th. What would be the difference with a fight that one-sided? How would that change the situation?
But the fight was competitive, and like, for example, like Canelo, he always gets funny scorecards, right? If that was the same situation, let's say the fight was competitive and Tyson Fury got like a 118, 112, I'm sorry, 118, 110 decision. Then you could be like, yo, the mob. But bro, he got knocked out. There's nothing to debate. He got knocked out. Clearly, it was due to him being fatigued.
So basically,
like after the second round, you could tell this man was fatigued.
No, I can understand the fatigue part, but you're saying that that there's no cheating because there was a knockout.
I'm saying what I'm telling you is what Artman is saying, that the cheating was the gloves. And we already spoke about how the gloves were checked. Obviously, not every glove was checked.
So you're telling us basically because Wilder was knocked out, there's no cheating in that fight?
My thing is also, one thing I want to say before you respond, Southpaw, is that, to be honest, the gloves looked the most egregious in the first fight where there was a decision and it was a draw. That's where the gloves actually looked the worst. All the footage of the super floppy glove came from the first fight, and Deontay Wilder wasn't even hurt. That's the only reason why I was asking you a question about the decision, because if Deontay Wilder took the same amount of damage and just managed to limp to the 12th, and the decision was kind of close just because they got a couple knockdowns apiece, that doesn't really change much about the reality of the situation. If someone wants to assume Tyson Fury is cheating, all the being banned from the United States, be damned. Just looking at that situation.
Mm-hmm. Why? Okay, let me ask you this, just because I don't really know too much about the situation. Why is Fury banned from the U.S.? Is it because he has a relationship with Daniel, whatever the fuck his last name is?
It don't matter. Because he is he's involved with the Kinahan cartel.
Okay.
He's directly involved with the Kinahan cartel, and his boss has a very big influence in the world of boxing.
Okay. So pretty much, but listen, what I'm trying to say is, Could there have been foul play involved? Like I said, of course, this is boxing. It's the dirtiest sport in the world. That's just a fact. But like looking at the fight, how it went, how Deontay Wilder was literally gassed. He got knocked down in the third round, bro. And Artman said he thought the fight was over, but that
I
was
thought the
because
fight was
of
over.
Wilder's
You're
because
right.
of
In the
Wilder's
first
body
couple
language, bro.
rounds.
That's what I'm trying to say. So
man.
But you
Deontay
know
Wilder's
why?
body
You know why?
language.
Because I thought Wilder suffered so much damage from the cheating in the second fight that he was basically damaged goods in the third fight. That's what I thought in that very instance.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But body language, you know, it probably made you think that, right? Because when Deontay Wilder got up, you could tell like the guy was he was gassed. He landed a bomb in the fourth. Tyson Fury got a super long count, and I think even Andre Ward mentioned it. He said after the seventh round, he got a long ass count,
dude. And you know boxing; these are heavyweights.
Yeah.
If somebody throws the hardest punch he got in his book, and a ref allows you to get up for fucking 15, 16 seconds, bro, you don't think that plays a major part in the performance, the outcome of the fight, bro?
That can definitely deteriorate somebody's confidence, and I believe it did for Wilder.
What the fuck? Come on, dude. Imagine you knock the dude out, and you're like, man, I know I got him. It's over with. I'm tired as fuck because I put on this extra muscle thinking this guy's going to lean on me, which he did. And I gave it all I got. Everything in the tank. I landed. But here the fucking ref goes. This new ref that got switched out of nowhere without my approval. You know, it's just like it's too much circumstantial evidence to just say Tyson Fury is some great guy. Just look at him. He's literally banned from the country.
Right. I get you.
Man, what do you think about that, though? What do you think about Tyson Fury?
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that again. What do I think about
what do you think about that, though? The heavyweight champion of the world. This never happened before in the sport of boxing. The heavyweight champion of the world is banned from the country he won the title in due to his mob ties.
So that's actually why I asked the question, because I had no idea why. Like, honestly, I don't really pay attention to that, you know, like behind the scenes type of shit. So that's why I asked, what do I think about it? I mean,
how can you vouch for somebody that you're telling me that you don't look into behind the scenes? I'm telling you, I'm looking. You know, I look into behind the scenes. So
I know you do.
This shit isn't even behind the scenes. That shit was on CNN.
Well, listen, like that's how much I pay attention to the news. But listen, I'm not vouching for the guy. I'm simply asking you a question. So I asked you, how did he cheat? You explained, and I explained my reasoning of to why maybe it was just a legitimate win. You want to ignore everything I'm saying and say, no, there's no way. You know what I mean? I'm not co-signing this guy. I already told you he's a piece of shit. I already told you he's a cheater. I believe now strongly more than ever that he. Remember, I used to come on your show and say that he didn't cheat the second fight, but now I strongly believe that he did cheat in the second fight. So I'm not vouching for this guy. I'm simply asking you how you went on a rant for months and months, how it can never happen. You were telling people, take out a loan, put it all on Wilder, and now you're changing.
You want me to rewind the show or something? I literally told you I was naive for thinking that a known cheater wouldn't cheat again.
What? No. That's not it. What I want you to do is to logically.
See, now you're doing too much. Now you're doing too much.
I haven't even finished.
Now you're doing
what I was saying. I haven't even finished what I was saying.
I just sat here and told you. Now you're like, man, I want you to get down on your knees and tell me that this white man is just superior. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my god! Now why does race have to be in it? Why does race have to be in it? What if Tyson Fury is black? Would you be doing this?
Come on. Let me ask you, man. Now let's just say this shit was reversed, right? And it was Deontay Wilder who is the guy that's banned from a country because of his mob connections. What do you think the media will say about that?
I mean, the media. Let's be
real.
Yeah, the media will say about that? I'll keep it a stack. Obviously, everybody would be like, "Oh, Wilder cheated." But to people who actually know boxing, because let's be real here, the media, they're all fucking retarded. None of them know shit about boxing. Let's just keep it a stack here, bro. Now, if you're asking people who actually know boxing, none of them would even entertain that. Like, okay, he's
because there's people that know boxing, like Holyfield, who say, yeah, fucking being drugged in a fight. I remember that shit. A motherfucker
Yeah.
did me like that.
No. He thought they did him like that.
No,
he never
he
got
said
proof.
he said all along he thought it was a heart problem. No, he said he got in that fight, and for some reason, it's so crazy because the symptoms he explained was very similar to the symptoms Wilder
hold
had.
on.
He says basically,
Hold on.
I couldn't get my heart rate up.
No. Evander Holyfield had came down sick before that fight. Don Turner, which is a mentor of mine, was his trainer, and me and him talked about it. And he had told me that Evander was sick going into that fight, and that they were talking about pulling him out of the fight because he had started being yellow.
He didn't name the fight though.
Is this the Riddick Bowe fight? I think it's the Riddick Bowe fight.
Yeah, it was.
He didn't name the fight though.
It was the first fight. I just know.
I'm pretty sure it was Riddick Bowe.
I just know the situation you're talking about because it was a second fight. See, it lingered because the second fight, not the second fight there, he had a fight set up to fight. I can't think if it was Owen Beck or someone like that, and he ended up coming down with an illness like a couple days before the fight.
Oh yeah, that was hepatitis. Hepatitis.
Hepatitis. That's exactly
hepatitis.
what he had, and he had hepatitis that fight that he thought that he was he couldn't recover or what have you in that situation. So that I'm only speaking up because I know that because I talked to Don Turner personally about that.
Okay,
you know
I'm just saying about what Evander Holyfield said out of his mouth.
Yeah, but Holyfield can say that he's seen in boxing
something similar.
Now,
Julius,
but he had
understand that.
I feel you, but Evander had. I feel you. Art, I'm just saying, Evander had hepatitis, but I have seen this situation in boxing.
One second, brother Julius. 1 second, because now we're just talking to each other. Have you heard of another boxer saying that they've been drugged before?
Millions of times.
George Foreman.
Millions of times. It's been a situation in Germany where boxers have been poisoned. And a lot of fighters got poisoned by different ways. Guys have got cheating. I mean, look, it's been a situation where guys got poison with food the night before the weigh-in. We done seen all situations. Evander Holyfield was different.
Have you ever seen it on a fight of this magnitude?
Well, you gotta think. George Foreman said that he got cheated in the Thriller in Manila.
In the Ali fight?
Yeah. He said that the Africans, because remember, the Africans from Zaire or Congo now was really going hard for Ali in the build up to that fight. Remember, George Foreman didn't fight for almost 10 years after that situation. So he not only felt he felt cheated to the highest power. You know what I'm saying? To the point where he didn't fight no more at that stage.
Wait. So you're telling me that George Foreman
said he was cheated?
That he was drugged?
Yes. Yes.
In that fight, and because of that fight, he didn't box for 10 years or 8 years?
Yes. Really? He might have had one fight, the Jimmy Williams fight, I think. But yes, he said that he was drugged over in Zaire. That they drugged him.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. What did people say around that time?
They didn't say nothing. They said he was a sore loser. That he gassed out in the fight. And
it sounds like these guys are just sore losers, honestly.
That's what they said about George Foreman. But I'm only saying this.
Hold on, Softball. You said these guys. So how do you feel about the mob being involved in that fight, though?
Well, the only issue I have is that Tyson Fury made the same complaints that Deontay Wilder did after he fought Klitschko and he fucking won.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
he got drugged.
Right. And there's multiple.
He said that he got drugged.
He said Klitschko was a glove cheat. He said the ring was too small. He said it was fixed. He said that the Klitschko's promoter was trying to screw him over and didn't want him to win. He said all this dumb shit after he won the fight. He
Yeah.
won the fight, and he said all this nonsense.
Yeah.
Sounds like bullshit from Tyson Fury too.
Well, but now the
And-
only
And
I'm gonna
South
tell you.
knows it all.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the one
I'm just
thing.
saying, it sounds like bullshit, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the
So
one
what
reason
does it
why
sound
I
like
know.
bullshit to you?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you the one reason why I know that Tyson Fury is capable of cheating, and that was the fight
Oh,
where
we already know that.
the ref made him re-glove up, and then I look at the guy. Anytime a guy try to get advantages and by using steroids or anything, I know that they got low self-esteem. So I know that it's something like what Teddy Atlas say. Sometimes in fights that guys, you know what I'm saying, they mentally go somewhere else where they start to fear. They have fear, like personal fear, and they either want to check out or find a way to help themselves win, even if it means cheating. So yeah, I definitely think that he would cheat 100%. The only thing that I have ever said, and I've been consistent, is that Mark Breland did not cheat Deontay Wilder. I said JD's. I'll say Tyson Fury himself. I'll say the commission turned a blind eye. The referee gave a long count, but my brother Mark Breland didn't do it.
Do you feel like Mark Breland at least knew something happened?
Mark Breland would not go through, in my opinion, because look, people can do anything, all right, and we not know. But in my opinion, because of his, he been with Deontay as a pro since day one.
Mm-hmm.
He was not only that, he trained with he was with Shelly Finkel, you know what I'm saying, since the 80s, who's with Deontay Wilder. So I'm thinking that he wouldn't do that. I just don't see him doing it. He
Now,
was an international star himself and a world champion a couple times. And to be honest, I don't feel that Mark Breland had as much say in Deontay Wilder camp as people give it to him. I don't think he had it. I think that JD's is the man in that camp. And I think JD's, who also was in the dressing room before the fight. Look, man, I'm gonna bring race involved in this. A white man be the person that did it, and they'll point and say, "Hey, that black guy was right there," and us black folks fall for it every time, hook, line, and sinker. You know what I'm saying?
I could
The
understand
JDs
that,
did it.
but what about the shit Mark Breland said on that podcast? That's the only thing I'm stuck on.
Well, what did he say?
yeah,
You-
that's the tough stuff right there, bro.
What did he say in regards to I'm just asking. Did he say I did this or that?
No, what he
said
was
that
saying
brother
was
Wilder. He says Wilder doesn't listen to him. Wilder doesn't jump rope. Wilder doesn't do this. And
He said Wilder doesn't hit the bag.
He said JD's so blind he couldn't tell you if they put
Let me
something in his
let me
water.
tell y'all this, and this is something that I'm speaking factual about. Something that a trainer himself told me.
My
A
thing
trainer.
is, my thing
Hold on
is,
one second. Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question. Don Turner trained DeMarcus Corley for the Floyd Mayweather fight and other fights prior, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about how this guy was getting ready for the fight of his life, and he was supposed to run. He poured water on himself to make it look like he sweat. Now, the only reason that I brought that up, right, is because this isn't a story that he necessarily said. But if him and Chop Chop had an issue, and I'm saying it now for you're not the first time, but I'm saying it. Trainers are like coaches. You had what's the coach? Phil Jackson make a book talking about he was dissing Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in a book. So to me, coaches do that kind of thing, in my opinion, that they see stuff, but because they getting paid good, they won't say nothing. And then when they get disgruntled at the person, they come out and say, well, Jordan went out gambling nights before. Like, remember the game where Michael Jordan scored the points and won the championship against Utah and hit the shot and posed? Okay, people said that Michael Jordan had the flu, right? Well, Phil Jackson came out in his book said Michael Jordan didn't have the flu. He was hungover from drinking the night before. So that just shows you that coaches will come out and say the truth about things. And that's why I said what I said. And that's being totally objective. I don't feel Mark Breland had that much say in that camp.
So you saying that what Mark Breland said was some real shit?
I believe that hold on. Deontay Wilder himself said, I don't like to run. I don't want to run. I want to swim. I don't believe in hitting the heavy bag. I believe in sparring. So all of those things that he said was backed by something that Deontay said earlier. But see, when all this stuff was going on, it just looked like, hey man, this guy don't like this guy. Mark Breland ain't that type of brother. That's all I'm saying. Where he gonna cheat, intentionally get this man murdered in the ring. But see, just like go back to Lou DiBella and the guy that died, Patrick Day. Nobody has blamed Lou DiBella for that man's death. Because he kept putting this guy in hard fight after hard fight, months after getting knocked out or concussed. And nobody say, well, Lou DiBella didn't kill this guy. The white guy get the slide and the black guy gets the blame.
Okay, Brother Julius, I understand what you're saying. Most definitely. But my thing is, when it comes to that, why didn't he just say not Mark Breland, JD's did it? JD's was the guy that did it.
I mean, he did say in I don't know which interview it was I heard, but he did say Jay was the one in the corner, in the locker room before the fight. And I would say this to Tay Jones or any of them. I would say, where is the culpability of JD's?
You know what?
That's a good question.
Brother Julius, I totally understand what you're saying. Most definitely. I question JD's my damn self because he's been silent throughout the whole thing.
He said nothing.
I haven't heard one statement about any of this.
And when they asked, did Tyson Fury cheat? It was two people that said, no, he didn't cheat. It wasn't Mark Breland. It was JD's and Shelly Finkel. See what I'm saying?
I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I don't trust Shelly Finkel and I don't trust JD's. I really don't.
Okay. That's pretty funny that you say that.
That's true.
Because
that's true.
well, Art man, when you were making these allegations,
I'm talking about
all
what's
you
going
did was
on
shit
right now, Southpaw.
All right, well, I'm just saying, bro. You're telling me that you don't trust JD.
You're telling me,
but you wasn't saying that before.
Prior to the fight, there's been so much information that came to public since that fight. So let's talk about what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to say that around the time Mark Breland said those things, there was newly released footage of Deontay Wilder doing everything that Mark Breland said that he didn't do, like run and hit the bag and jump rope. And so I'll leave the shit at that.
But he's not saying that he never did it. It's just that he wouldn't do it. Just like, for example, Joe Calzaghe is known for not sparring, but there's pictures of him on Google sparring. That doesn't mean that he never did it. It's just he didn't like to do it, and he didn't do it consistently.
And that's
what he's trying to say.
Mark Breland was trying. Not only did Mark Breland imply that Deontay Wilder didn't actively do those things, but Mark Breland was talking about how he was not receptive to good advice. So basically, Mark Breland was saying that he sat there and collected a steady paycheck, knowing goddamn well that he was not able to teach Deontay Wilder what he was supposed to know, according to Mark Breland, as opposed to separating himself from the situation. That's what bothers me. If you're in a situation and you're a teacher and you're not allowed to teach, you need to find a new teaching position.
Hey, man, you're 100% right.
But
D-Hive, you're 100% right. And I do blame Mark Breland for that. And I blame a lot of other trainers for the exact same thing, bro.
And another thing too,
and
I
I'm
wanted to say.
oh, hold on one second,
Yeah,
Southpaw.
do you
The
think?
reason I say that is because I seen it like people are enablers. And boxing is a sport where people can die. So I feel that you should be, look, man, if you ain't going to listen to me, I'll step aside. I would rather a guy say something like that. But you gotta realize too, to me it's not a bad thing. When you're a knockout artist like Deontay Wilder is with the right hand, you'll neglect a lot of things because you're so confident in that right hand. You know what I'm saying? It's like a 3-point shooter. It's like telling a 3-point shooter, hey man, they guard the 3-point line. You're gonna have to dribble tonight and go to the basket. Well, the 3-point shooter gonna say, well, you know what? I'm gonna shoot threes anyway because I'm so confident. That's like telling Steph Curry, don't take a three because they guarding you. He gonna say, no,
Now,
I'm the
Julius,
greatest 3-point shooter.
imagine if Steph Curry was shooting threes, right, in that same scenario like you pictured,
Mm-hmm.
and the mob was involved in the opposing team, and they moved the rim every time he shot a three.
Well, you do know that the mob got involved.
It's
You
like
do know that.
it's like, how can we say Wilder's skills are so terrible? This, and that. He only good at the right hand. Not saying that you're implying that, but but the fact that he still knocked Tyson Fury down, and he could say, yes, I knocked Tyson Fury out, because Tyson Fury out of his own mouth said, this motherfucker knocked me out. And you see things like the long count. You know, other fighters, if they went down the same way Fury went down in the first and third fight, you would be like, hell no. Hell no.
Hey,
Everybody
I'm
did that shit.
I'm telling you, bro. In my opinion,
So
the easiest way to cheat.
The man he got good power. He did his thing, man. But
All right, man, I
when
want
you
to say
messing with
something
the mob,
after you're done.
you can't win.
Yeah,
But,
let me just say something really quick,
I gotta
Art
dip
man.
in like 10 minutes though.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just say one thing, bro. And pretty much to pretty much piggyback off of what Julius was saying. If you look at the training videos from back when Mark Breland was in charge compared to when Malik Scott was in charge, completely different. The pad work that Mark Breland did with Deontay Wilder, you would see Deontay Wilder, the only thing he ever focused on was the right hand. That is it. When Malik took over, it was a brand new Deontay Wilder. It looked like the dude knew what he was doing. You know what I mean? So I do believe
I disagree with that.
Exactly.
I disagree with that. To be real, he should have. Yeah, he should have stuck with Mark Breland.
To prove Wilder, and then he said, "Man, fuck this shit," and just hit him with the same old 1-2, and the shit worked. Somehow,
listen, but look at the training videos; they speak for themselves. So I do, bro.
Exactly,
I do believe that Mark Breland is telling the truth when he said that he had no control over Deontay Wilder. Because look at the pad work. Look at what Malik was able to do. Malik had Deontay Wilder looking in there like he was a technician. And when you see his pad work with Mark Breland, it's just the basic 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. That's it. Every pad video was the same.
Hey, well, let me say this though, bro, and I'm not trying to be funny. When you 6'7", 220, and you can punch like that, you really shouldn't try to reinvent the wheel. Like that stuff that Malik Scott did with Deontay would have worked better if he had got Deontay when he first turned pro.
Yes,
because now you can't go and try to reinvent the wheel in 2 months and then try to have Deontay Wilder come out there jabbing to the body like Floyd Mayweather or Andre Ward. That stuff didn't work. I knew that was a disaster waiting to happen. I was like, man, Deontay gonna be tired in 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and that's my point.
What's good,
I don't feel like he was just tired. I feel like that motherfucker was hurt too, because Fury hit him on the side of the head with that funny style glove, dude. And I know that shit probably had his head spinning. And then he grabbed him like this in the headlock and went, wow. And Wilder just fell over. I said, oh my God, this shit is fucking over. I swear I did.
Well, Ishmael said that jab to the body is how he landed the right hand to the head. Well, also the right hand landed because Tyson Fury rushed in without jabbing himself and left himself wide open. And more so, and what happened is Deontay threw the right hand and Floyd style. He didn't look like Floyd, but when he hit him, Fury was coming forward and Wilder was coming forward. And if you saw it, you saw the waves go down Tyson Fury's body.
Fury talking that bullshit because I know you don't look. You don't just there's a consequence to just having these fucking mob abilities and all that bullshit. The motherfucker got dropped, right? Mm-hmm. One of the craziest punches we've seen. And they allow him to get up after 15 seconds to continue to get punched. You don't think that fucked with his brain after the fight? You don't think that this man has some type of disorder, CTE, mild CTE?
Well, I mean, look, man, all fighters, I believe when they come out of that ring, I don't believe that they come out the same, man. Especially in any kind of fight like that. So, look, Tyson Fury is not going to be the same, and Deontay Wilder isn't either. But I just hope that Deontay just got enough to get in that ring on October 15th and land that big right hand. You
Deontay Wilder will be champion once again.
Well, that's going to be for the vacant title, probably.
Yes, he's going to be champion once again.
Hey, when they make that Tyson Fury
scandal
movie, I gotta be in it though. Real shit. I really gotta be in it. But anyways, y'all, I gotta get up out of here.
All right, Brody.
All right, y'all stay safe.
Thanks for having me on. Have a good one.